welcome to another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Welcome to Chapter 3 of the Dumosums, the Brazilian rain tree cork bark variant. I'm going to strip the root ball here and examine the root system, trim the root system, and place it into this pot here. So let's get started. I'll give you a closer look at the tree before we get started here. Has some wiring from the previous owner on it, which I will remove this week at some point, but today we're just going to focus on this root ball. Let's get started. Go ahead and attack this with the root hook, see what we can get loosened. It's alright, a little rocking won't hurt nobody. Use the points of both these tools here to help get this stripped a little faster. We have some large roots already that I'm picking up. One here that's wrapping around, one right here, and one right here. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what we have for a nebari on this tree. So, it's a beautiful yet chilly autumn Sunday morning in the South Atlantic. It's perfect for some garden work, which I admittedly have a lot to do. Besides the fun part, I also have to mow, weed, carry water, things of this nature. All the important things that need to happen every day that most people don't think about. Let's see here. Definitely going to get to the finer tool here and see what we have for roots. We have a lot of fine roots and they all have nodules on them, which is good. We have that symbiotic bacteria fixing nitrogen into the soil. That's what those nodules house. Sometimes they don't exist, even though the family of tree, Fabaceae, say that they should. Most of the family does encourage that symbiotic relationship. The problem is bacteria doesn't physically exist in the pot or that soil. It won't have it. So you actually have to introduce that bacteria. So if anyone wants me to mail them these root nodules in a moist paper towel so you can put that in your soil and that bacteria can propagate in your Fabaceae roots, let me know. I'll send you some. Alright, so we have quite a ball on the bottom here. I wouldn't say it's as thick as the Chapter 2 Dumosum, but this tree here is no lack of fine roots, that's for sure. I'm going to probably wash this root base like I did on number 2. That way we can see exactly what we're working with. Alright, we got that all pulled out for the most part. I'm going to probably get to the washing stage here now. Got all the big stuff out of the way that I can get without damaging the roots. Alright. I think we got it now. It's doing well. It's doing really well. Hopefully you guys could see that. Alright, I'll be right back. Let's get a close up on these roots, on these nodules too. So you can see those little nodules on all the roots. They house that bacteria, and you can see these nodules are everywhere on this root system. So you need that or you won't get as much nitrogen in your pot, which is actually pretty advantageous for bonsai since they're in a fixed environment. So it's time for this root work. My biggest challenge right off the bat is going to be addressing this large root that goes in a 90-degree bend here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use this saw because I don't have clippers big enough to actually saw that off. But I want to saw it off in a way where I still maintain most of that root. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fine roots with nodules coming off that, but it is definitely not something I want to see on the top of my pot. For the sake of the art, I'm going to cut that off. So let's go ahead and do that. Do an angle here without hurting the other roots in there. Go slowly here. Sorry, tree. Well, maybe the root cutting is strong enough to actually plant. And I'll try if I get it to grow a tree right from the cutting. It does have a healthy root system by itself. So I'm most of the way through now. Hope probably go a little closer to the edge to help sever that. I don't know if you can see that. I apologize if I'm off the screen for a second. There we go. So, there is this. This is what I cut off. So I'm going to seal that and see if I can't get a tree to grow from that stump. Wish me luck. So I'll get a better zoom on this for you as we continue. Alright, so we'll continue by trimming these roots up. See what's sticking up, what's crossing over, what needs to go. Some of this could be just gently pruned. Some of this needs to be completely removed. Like so. Things sticking up, large and useless, needs to go. Get that one. Anything sticking up needs to go. Some of these roots are nice and large. They could probably develop, but not the way they are right now. This large root can go. Don't need that one. These could make root cuttings. I took the big boy here and put it into the soil, see what happens to that. Hopefully good things. There we go. Get some of these on the bottom. Some of these larger ones on the bottom we don't want. They have nodules, which is great. Kind of freehanding this circle, as you can see. This is quite a reduced root ball. I'd say we're close to 50. Definitely. So let's get the pot ready to put this in. Alright, so we're going to place this tree in this pot. And we're going to, I've already prepped the wire anchors, so I'm going to wire this tree in so it doesn't come out. So what we need is to prep the substrate, which is the old substrate I'm going to use, which is a mixture of rock, or actually broken clay, composted soil, some of these old roots which will decompose over time, because I plan on leaving this tree in this pot for at least a year. So I'm going to add some perlite to this mix. Pretty sure you can see that right there. Get a handful of this messy perlite, or two, maybe a couple of handfuls of this messy perlite in there. There we go. Mix that up. That'll help hold nutrients and moisture, not so the composted soil doesn't have to do all that work alone. All right. So I don't have much space there, so I am going to raise the tree up a little bit, and then it's going to be like a mound. That's the overall plan. I need to get some wire here so I can plan out how I want to put this tree in there. It's going to need 2 wires, essentially. I might get away with 1. Whereas, let's get the soil under the tree first. Now I have a volcanic basalt that I'm going to use for the top layer of the substrate. Remember, I like to use layered substrates for my bonsai, not one static one all the way through, if I can avoid it. So I'm going to leave a bottom layer of this stuff all the way across, like a pie, and leave it mounded in the center where I'm going to place the tree, so it has the most material under it. There we go. A bit more of that. There we go. There's that. Let's see what we're doing here. Let's see what's going on. Let me put the tree on there like there. That's a little high, so I'm going to go ahead and just squish that down a little bit more. Place it down again. see what I got going on in this tree here. I have a few things that can help, but that's really not being spaced out by that. I just think these are high. These roots are high, so I think I'm going to... I don't know if I should remove them because that is future nebari. I might wire them down. That might be the plan. And then I got to decide the front of this tree, which we'll do later together. So, my biggest challenge is placing this tree. I think I can make this work. I'll do another trimming on the roots. For sure. I could probably put a little bit more of this soil in places, like so. Just to help that along. Use my tool here to help get that in there a little bit better. So that is going to be, for the most part, the substrate, the first layer of substrate. The rest is going to be the basalt. Give us a little bit more filler here, so we have to use less rock on the filler side of things. There we go. Almost there. All right. Just get the substrate tucked in between these roots here. I still haven't found my toothbrush from the wind, so we're still looking for that. It was pretty windy here yesterday, so definitely the change of season. All right. So my plan here is, it's not necessarily a very good plan, is to wire this tree using one wire, bent at a 90, like so. But I'm not sure if that's going to cooperate with us or not. So I want to hold this root system down, right? So I want to bring him in to a point, like so. I'm going to bring this wire underneath this root but above the other one, like that. It's almost like a weave without moving the tree too much. Through here. Temporary anchor that side. This side to get this side to anchor would be wonderful. If I can. Like so, and pull it around. This is going to need to be, we're going to need an extension, so let's get that built. We'll cut off the excess later. Alright, where'd it go? So what I want to do is, we're going to want to tie these two together. So, all right. Feed this. There we go. Now this wire is going to be pulled taut around that root base. It's going to be pushed down, like so. And I'm going to pull that wire back and snip it with the wire snipper, not the good snips, like so. So that's how I initially placing this tree. All right, it's got some protection. It's wrapped above and below certain different root systems. Now it's time to put the basalt on there. So, I'm going to start putting this fine basalt over my tree. I have a few bags of this. This is actually from an aquarium supply, but it works very well for bonsai stone. this around. And the nebari isn't as well developed on this tree as others, which is okay. It'll take some time. We'll work on it. Let's spread some of this out. Go ahead and use the back side of this tool for now. See where we're at. Some of this is definitely, I could probably expose some of this nebari, but not much, because where I cut the big one, it really needs to grow roots out of there and down. Hopefully it does that through this, the substrate that I'm putting over it now. There's no way to... When I repot this in a year, we can see how the root system grew. Wind is definitely picking up. Piece of wire sticking in there. Get that down. Poke that straight down. There we go. Maybe a little further. There it is. Where I cut there, I cut that there, so we'll probably just keep that covered as well. There isn't a whole lot of nebari to show on this tree, like the other two, which is fine. Can't always have a perfect nebari, right? This tree will have the opportunity to grow one, though. I'm going to do that. See, this is okay on this side. I'm going to let this kind of grow out. Put some more on that. The water's definitely going to wash that clean, so I'll leave it a little bit exposed, and over time, the water will erode around it. Just for example, you can see that now if you do this, see, it moves it. It'll eventually expose them, and the rocks will settle in around it. Alright, just trying to get some last minute roots here that I can see. Right here, I got one right here on the trunk. It's going a little high. Get rid of that. We don't want these high roots. That one out. There's that one. A little bit more of the basalt required. There we go. Little thing sticking up here I gotta grab. There it goes. Cover that with basalt as well. Almost. We're almost there. Just trying to get the there. They'll use a bag and a half of that basalt from the aquarium supply. I think I could do this with hand now. It might be a little more effective than the tool. Just to even this out. I'll give you a close-up of this tree after I water it. Here is the tree all potted up. I think that might be the front of the tree, but I'll determine that later when I'm ready to prune it. Let's let it get its vigor back and regrow its roots. All right, Here we have the three Dumosum Brazilian rain trees that I've potted up in the last week and a half. We're going to let them grow the roots out and become more prolific growers, allow them to branch out some more, and then I'll do some videos about how to prune the tops. I think the closest one is this one to being pruned in the future, but then we'll determine where the front of the trees are, and I'll repot these two here in the plastic pots in about a month or less, and then they'll be in stainless steel pots, and this one's going to stay in the ceramic pot. So thank you for joining me on another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Consider subscribing. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below, and I'm happy to answer them. Until next time, take care.